We need proof of your identity. So that means your passport, of course, and one other form of ID such as your driving license. Or, if you have one, an ID card is fine. We also need proof of where you live, so something official with your name and address on, a telephone or electricity bill, for example. Or if you rent, then your rental contract showing your name and address. Oh, also, if you are a student, we need a letter from your school. Or, if you have a job, then a letter from your employer.
Emma, how much luggage do you need for a week in Ireland?
A lot.
Well, hurry up. We haven't got much time. It's 11 now. The plane leaves in 3 hours.
Can I put these shoes in your suitcase? Mine's full.
More shoes? How many pairs have you got?
Not that many. Please, Mum?
OK, but there isn't much space in my suitcase, and I want to put a few books in it. Now come on. There's a lot of traffic near the airport at this time of day.
Wait, where's my MP3 player?
It's here, in your rucksack. Come on, it's time to go.
You probably recognise Big Ben, the clock tower at one end of the Houses of Parliament in London. It's London's most famous monument, but perhaps you don't know Big Ben's real name, the Elizabeth Tower. Big Ben dates from 1859. The tower is 96 metres high. There are 334 stairs in it, but tourists can't go inside the tower or climb to the top. There are 4 clock faces, and each face is 7 metres in diameter. The minute hands are 4.2 metres long and weigh about 100 kilos. The bell weighs about 13,760 kilos. Big Ben looks amazing at night because there are lights on the clock faces. On the 31st of December every year, New Year's Eve, TV stations in the UK show pictures of Big Ben at midnight, and all over the country people listen to the 12 chimes of the bell when the old year ends. The Statue of Liberty in New York Harbour is the work of the French designer Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. This present from the people of France to the USA in 1886 is the most famous monument in the USA. Every year, millions of tourists take a boat trip to Liberty Island to see it. It's the only way to get there. This huge statue weighs 204,000 kilos. 12 people can stand in the torch and 40 can stand in the head. Here are some more amazing facts about the statue.
Okay, Linda, what's your hobby?
Well, it's pretty unusual.
Oh, well, come on, tell me.
I like doing magic tricks.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes. My grandfather did magic tricks, and I learned a lot of tricks from him. It's really fun, and it's a good way to meet people. On weekends, I often give shows at kids' birthday parties.
Oh, that's fantastic. It sounds wonderful.
Yes, I love it, most of the time. But sometimes it's boring to do the same tricks over and over. Well, that's why I'm always trying to learn new tricks.
Well, I'd love to see your show one of these days. So, Evan, do you have a hobby?
Yes, actually I do. And my hobby is extremely relaxing.
Really? Well, what do you do?
I like to fish.
Huh, you like fishing?
Oh, yeah. On weekends, I go to the river and I try to catch some fish.
You try? Do you catch many?
Well, no, not really. But it's great to sit outdoors in the fresh air, you know?
Yeah, sounds nice.
But
But?
it's an expensive hobby. I mean, you need good equipment, and good fishing equipment is, well, expensive.
I see. Well, thanks, Evan.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Ian Gerard, and I'm a photographer. I'm here to tell you a bit about my career so far, and also about my new book. I often get asked if I studied photography at university, and people are sometimes surprised that I didn't. I wanted to, but my parents wouldn't let me, so I had to choose something else. I loved history, but my marks weren't very good, but I was keen on geography too, so that is what I did in the end. I actually think it's made me a better photographer and has given my work a broader context. On my degree course, in my final year, we studied all aspects of the development of cities and we had to do a presentation. We could do what we wanted and it was really interesting the topics people chose. I chose street markets for mine, but a friend did his on the growth of urban transport networks. On graduation, I went to the USA. I knew I wanted to work as a photographer, so I'd sent pictures to news organisations and advertising agencies, hoping I might get something in a brochure or even a newspaper. In fact, it was a magazine that noticed my pictures, and I worked for it for a year. I learnt a huge amount, but what I really wanted to do was see the USA for myself. I needed a theme, something really American, maybe photographing diners or shopping malls around the country. Then I remembered all those westerns I'd seen, and I just knew it had to be horses. I'd found what I wanted to focus on. It was an amazing 6 months. I started off in the baking heat of summer on the East Coast and finished my journey up in the mountains. I get the most striking shots in the winter light, although I do love the warmth in summer photos. Anyway, I came back to Britain at the beginning of spring and published my US photos in a small book. I earned just enough to finance my next trip round the UK. I felt it was time I explored my own country. I'd done a lot of driving in the USA, and I wanted a change from the car, so went by motorbike instead. I love train travel, but I wanted to get to more remote areas. I wanted to explore the relationship between people and place. Interestingly, in the last few decades, many photographers from the UK haven't done much on fishing communities here, so that's what I did. They've tended to focus on family life in inner city communities instead. The resulting photos I'm putting together for my new book. One thing I've learnt is that it takes ages to produce a book, almost as long, in fact, as it took me to travel around Britain and then develop all the photos I'd taken. I started my journey in August and finished last month in November. My book won't be in the shops until March, though there's an exhibition of my pictures touring the UK from January. It's funny, I really wanted to call my book Visions, but apparently there's already one called that. So my publishers suggested the title In Focus, which I thought was horrible. In the end, we settled for Images, which is okay. Now I'm planning my next tour. I wasn't sure which theme to choose this time. I initially thought I'd look at lakes and mountains, but then I saw a tractor in a field, and I knew I'd do farming. I've decided to use a special camera to create very large photos, which I'm hoping to exhibit next year. Well, if you have any questions about my new...
Zorb is the name of the latest exciting sport to come out of New Zealand, the country that gave the world bungee jumping.
That's right. Now let me tell you about it. Zorb can be really exciting. Imagine this. There are two large clear balls. One ball fits inside the other ball. If you decide to try Zorb, You climb inside the smaller ball. Now, are you comfortable? You're almost ready to go, but not quite. Now, before you go, someone pours cold water inside the ball. Now, you get ready, and then someone pushes you down the hill. And as you roll down the hill, the ball goes faster and faster. And you go so fast that you're pushed up against the walls of the ball. But don't worry, nobody gets hurt doing Zorb. And when you stop at the bottom of the hill, you climb out of the ball. And you're completely wet. Now, it's time for someone else to try Zorb. Or do you want to go again?